Black woman CEO publicly humiliated by billionaire white family. Then she cancels the $500 million deal. Before we dive into this story, hit the comments and tell us your city or county's set. Let's see how far this story reaches. If you like the video, please subscribe. Everyone in the room froze. A billionaire family had just laughed at her name, mocking it, mispronouncing it, dismissing her as the assistant. But it wasn't the assistant. She was the CEO. And the $500 million deal on the table. It was hers to approve. What she didn't know was that she had already been watching, taking notes, reading every microaggression, every smile that didn't reach their eyes. 10 minutes later, she stood up. And what she said didn't just shock the room, it cost the family everything. Watch until the end. Avery James was the kind of woman boardrooms rarely made space for. Sharp, composed, and brilliant, she had taken her tech firm from a kitchen table. Startup to a company valued at over $500 million. Today, she was meeting with the Whitmores, an old money investment dynasty with the power to take her company global. This partnership could mean 10 new markets, thousands of jobs, and generational change. The deal had been months in the making. And now, inside a private country club room surrounded by polished wood, champagne flutes, and inherited power, Avery sat across from the family patriarch, flanked by his sons and advisors. Her name was on the presentation. Her signature would close the deal. But to them, she was invisible, and they were about to make that painfully clear. The meeting began with the usual pleasantries, but something felt off. The eldest Whitmore son barely made eye contact. One of the women whispered into her wine glass, then laughed. As Avery introduced herself, the patriarch interrupted, "Dee, we were expecting the CEO. Will she be joining us on?" She pauses. "Dee, I am the EO." There was an awkward silence followed by a chuck. Of course. My apologies," he said. But the damage was done. As the presentation went on, subtle jabs turned sharper. They asked if she, as self-aid, in a tone that meant otherwise. One of the sons asked if she had experienced ed handling numbers this large. Another made a joke about diversity high s. Avery stayed composed. But inside, the heat built. Her company had spent years innovating in tech and infrastructure, data that proved itself. But none of it seemed to matter here. Then came the final blow. As the room filled with laughter at a dismissive remark about her and me, Avery? Is that short for something Aryan? She realized she didn't see her. Not as a leader. Not as a partner. Not even as a human being. They didn't want to invest in her vision. They wanted to own it. Avery stood up. No one noticed at first. They were still laughing. Then her voice cut through, I came here today to close a deal. But instead, I was reminded of why I built my company without people like you. The room fell silent. You see numbers, I see people. You see an opportunity, I see a legacy. And I will not sell my legacy to men who can't say my name, me. She gathered her laptop, her documents, and her dignity. Why? This meeting is over. And just like that, she walked out, leaving behind stunned faces and $500 million still sitting on the table. The next day, news broke that Avery's company had declined the Whitmore offer. Within hours, headlines shifted. Other firms began reaching out, ones led by people who saw her value, not her skin. Her story went viral. Young Black girls, entrepreneurs, and marginalized founders saw her courage and began to believe again. She didn't just walk away from a deal. She redefined power. Because it's not just about money or name. It's about knowing when to say no, when to demand respect, when to walk away from tables that were never built for you. So ask yourself, what are you willing to walk away from to protect what matters most? If you enjoyed this story and thought it was provoking, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful narratives. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Take care.